Girl, look in the mirror. Man, you're so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you.
Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now, because this is not the show for you. Now, what I have for you, man, is a crazy display of lunacy from a modern woman who's going to try to convince the world that all men should be feminine, that men should embrace their feminine side, and that we are fighting against our true feminine nature. So I'm gonna go ahead and break this down, and I want to try to let y'all understand something here, man. A lot of these women, my most humble opinion in this educational video, don't know what a man is, a real man, and they do not want a real man, because a real man will come with pure masculinity. They're not going to be watered down. So let me let you hear what this woman got to say, and I am going to be giving you my analytical commentary, and I'm going to be discussing polarity. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to use it in this video. All right, 1 second. All right, as I always say, let's get it.
Jackson, feminine energy has always been attractive. Even if you look into the 70s and the 80s era and how people were dressed, the music they were making, the house decor, the archetype of the houses, it was all feminine energy. It was a rise in lavender marriages. The reason for this was because of the feminine versus masculine energy. Men were in relationships with women to cover up how they really feel, which is internally they wanted to connect to their feminine energy. Relationships with straight women.
This woman just said men back then, and she also means now. She's saying that men are marrying women because they want to cover up the fact that they are feminine. In other words, that they play for the other team, that men are really secretly liking men. Now, you got DL men, but that's not what she's trying to say. She's making a blanket statement saying that all men are like this. Let's continue.
Wanted to connect to their feminine energy. Relationships with straight women for the safety of it. Patriarchy basically told them, you can't be out here doing feminine energy things, because patriarchy was solely built on masculine things, the external, nothing of the inner, nothing creative. It was always about to boost the man's ego, where you hear a lot of rumors back in the days, the grandmother saying they lost her husband to another man, and it was kept hush hush because it would be an embarrassment. But everybody knew that men were emotionally attracted to other men too, because of that feminine energy. So you see in that generation, in the 70s and the 80s, was a huge amount of the abuse pipeline, with men literally beating on their women, but no one believed them because the men looked very charming, they had jewelry on, they just looked very flamboyant, and if you notice, they were the worst of men. The feminine energy will always peak its head when it comes to masculine energy, because the natural nature that humans are supposed to live is through feminine energy. So because patriarchy has been violently put here, a lot of men understood in that era, like, hey, we're getting too in tune with our feminine energy, and women are getting too comfortable, because patriarchy was based on that root that if we cancel feminine energy, women will forget themselves. They forget their natural nature. We will also forget who we really are, because to acknowledge your feminine energy, it means to respect the woman.
Okay, enough of that. All right, now let me tell you something. Before I continue and break this down, I'm going to be talking about polarity, the polarity of masculinity. If you need to understand more about polarity, I would recommend this book right here. I read about 20, 30 times. It's called the Kabbalion. And one of those principles that it teaches from the Hermetic philosophy is about polarity. Now, let me use a principle from the Kabbalion to describe masculinity. Now, let's get to it. The polarity of masculinity is like the yin and the yang. Take, for example, temperature. Take heat and cold. Both of those two things are identical in nature, just different in degrees. 97 degrees is different from 20 below, but it's still temperature. It is still identical. It's just different, but it is still temperature. Now, what does that have to do with masculinity and feminine energy? Let me break down masculinity. You have on one end of the spectrum where you have a aggressive, assertive, forceful side of masculinity. You need those type of qualities to be successful as a man in this world, and also to have the ability to protect your wife and children. You have to have those aggressive tendencies. You got to be strong. That's one end of masculinity. The other end of masculinity is the softer side of it. Okay? Now, when I say that, this is when a man will hold his children, love his children, kiss on his children, horseplay with his children, take the children to eat, take the children to Chuck E. Cheese, being all lovable and affectionate to his children. That is on the other end of masculinity. These are still masculinity traits, still identical in nature, but different in degrees. You get me? One degree is more assertive, more aggressive. The other one is more affectionate and gentle, but it is still masculinity. Just because a man wants to embrace his children, love on his wife, does not mean that he has feminine energy, okay? There's no such thing as one heterosexual straight male who has one drop of femininity. When people say to you, men need to get into their feminine side, they need to connect to it. A real man cannot connect to something that he's not created to have. It is our innate ability to be masculine, just like femininity. On one end of the spectrum, you have softness, you have affection, nurturing. That's one side of femininity. But at the same time, you also have a woman who has the ability to protect her children when the man is not around. One side, different in degrees from the other, but it is still identical. It is still the nature of femininity. You have hot, cold. You have night, day. But it's still the daytime. It's still day. You get what I'm saying? So, I hope I'm saying it where y'all can understand what I'm trying to say here. There's no such thing as a heterosexual straight woman who has one drop of masculinity. Now, women who act masculine are not masculine in nature. They adopt the traits and the characteristic traits and mimic masculinity. And you see how it doesn't work for them. You see that their true nature, the feminine side of them, longs for a masculine man. Excuse me. That's why they always complain about why I can't find a good man, because that innate nature of femininity cries out for a real masculine man. Masculinity is supposed to work in tandem with femininity, or should I say femininity is supposed to be working in tandem with masculinity, because masculinity existed on this earth before femininity did. And if you're a religious person, you know that Adam was here before the woman. So masculinity was here before femininity. Okay? Now, again, even a man, he can adopt feminine traits, but that's not his true nature. He can say all he wants, that he wants a man. That's not who he's supposed to be. Now, I know I'm going to say some things people ain't going to like, but you know how I get down. I don't care. This is my humble opinion. This is my personal insight. Y'all need to hear old heads, if you want to call me that. Y'all need to hear people from my generation and beyond, because I'm giving you the truth. Now, there's no such thing as a man who has any drop of femininity in him. Just because he acts softer at times does not mean that he is weak. When you have misguided femininity, you look for the most damaging aspects of masculinity. If a man is out there uncontrollable, he has no emotional regulation, then that aggressive side of his masculinity can get him in trouble. And women are attracted to that. They call them the bad boys, the thugs and stuff like that. But a well-balanced feminine woman understands that a man must be level. Just like a masculine man understands that a woman must be level. I hope I'm making sense to you today. I'm talking to you about polarity. We have polar opposites in our nature, good and bad, but it's still nature. Okay? Now, I'm gonna tell you something else that's gonna make you mad. Men are not supposed to be painting their fingernails and their toes like a woman. That's feminine. You're not supposed to be arching your eyebrows like a woman. That's feminine. You're not supposed to be in the mirror 2 or 3 hours and stuff trying to look prettier than your woman. That's feminine. I'm not saying that you can't look good. I ain't saying that you can't have good grooming going on, but there's certain things that real men do that we're not going to do those type of things. A man's body is designed for hard work. Our shoulders are designed to carry burdens. Our bodies are designed to gather, hunt, provide shelter, and provide and protect. You can't do that when you are picking up feminine traits and acting like a woman. Wearing clothes that's so tight, it's like you got biker shorts on. There's some men out here right now wearing some skinny jeans so tight, so tight, that when they put the pants on, they got to jump up and wiggle their butt. You ever seen a woman try to wiggle herself into the her pants and stuff like that? That's what men are having to do. That's not manly. That's feminine. Anything you do as a man that looks like what a woman would do is feminine. I don't know why. It's crazy. I got to explain that. But I understand that a lot of people don't have fathers or strong alpha mentors. But we alpha men, we're going to tell you the truth. We're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I'm not a sellout. I'm not a sellout for subscribers. I'm not a sellout for likes, views, comments, whatever. I always put out what I am passionate about. You have every right to disagree with me. I have no issues with that. Okay? I want you to understand that. I'm going to repeat it before I get this woman back on here. There's no such thing as a man who has one drop of femininity in him if he is a heterosexual man. And this is not an attack on the other people in the alphabet soup community. I'm not even trying to disrespect nobody. I'm just telling you the truth about the masculine side. Let's keep going with this lunacy. It gets even more crazier.
It also means to respect Mother Nature, and they don't want to do that. So they have to keep reminding men, hey, remember, it's all about power. It's all about power. So yes, men could easily be out here expressing themselves and really being emotionally vulnerable, but they don't want to do that because they understand that women are more powerful than them internally. And that's why you see this wave of the 50s making its return. But again, we're starting again the whole cycle. The men are coloring their nails. We're getting back to that era again. Earth wants its things back, which is the feminine energy. We thrive through the feminine energy. Men even understand that women and feminine energy is an asset, because when usually they're even fighting with each other, they always say things like, I have more women than you. Men understand that women are assets. The only person who does not understand that women are assets, it's women, because we have been brainwashed that we need to forget ourselves. It's like slavery. You cannot let the slaves know tribe they come from and what kingdom they come from.
Man, what planet is this woman from, man? What slavery? I mean, dude, what's going on? This woman is really motivating me to do a live stream. Let me check the community tab this Saturday. I will make a decision if I'm going to do a live stream covering this, because this is sad. This woman is delusional. This woman really believes this. Now, sometimes, and I'm gonna tell you some game, man. I want you to understand something. Passing judgment is okay on people, but what's better than passing judgment on a person is understanding the person, because your understanding will lead you to the judgment that you must have for that person. If a person is trying to use you and you know that they're using you, take a step back and ask yourself, why do they think that they can use me? I'm using this as an example. What am I doing? What have I shown them that makes them think that I'm weak in that area? Once you get to understand why they doing that, when you start to understand their motives or their reasoning behind what they're trying to do to you, then it's easier to pass that judgment. If you receive understanding first, then you can protect yourself from doing whatever it was you were doing or doing whatever it was you was not doing, so you won't have to deal with that experience again. So always remember, understanding is better than judgment. Judgment will still come from understanding. You get me? So check the community tab Saturday. It will be a religious one. This Sunday. You know, every now and then I do religious, I do secular, I do call-ins, but I think But this one right here is a spiritual matter. I might do a spiritual one, use scriptures like I have done before to show you what I'm talking about when it comes to this right here. So check the community tab. If you subscribe to the channel Saturday, if you don't see an announcement, then it won't happen this Sunday. If you do, it will be Sunday at 5:30 Central Standard Time. Again, 5:30 Central Standard Time. Let me continue without interruption.
Have to make them forget it so they lose their power. So a lot of men want us to forget our natural nature. This is also why you see a lot of gaslighting about them being smart and them knowing everything. This is also why you see a lot of men are getting so angry that women are now being single, or literally when they see other men who are actually gay, they hate it because it means that their power is going to be stripped away, a power that never belonged to them at that. Keep calling it an agenda because they know the agenda that they use to get power. They understand that they came in with an agenda. That's why anything feminine they feel like is an agenda. A woman wanting her freedom, oh, is an agenda. Oh, I don't want to be with men. Oh, you sound bitter. Why? Everything is a plan. Everything is a tactic because they know that's how they got their power. Understand that women are only being with them because they...
Ooh. Let me make this clear to y'all. Women, you got your power and your rights from the men. We did not get it from y'all. Women had to march, complain, and bicker, persuade husbands, persuade people, beg for the rights that they have right now. And guess where they got them rights from? In every country. Men. Every liberty that you enjoy, every convenience that you enjoy came from men. Now, if you're religious, we know it came down from God, but it came down through the men because the men were the ones in power. It was the men who created civilizations and societies. And it was the men that protect you from outside villages like Vikings and stuff like that. They gave their lives to protect the villages and all the other stuff like that. You are talking out of your butthole. You're a mustard-back heifer. You're a mustard-back heifer because you sound idiotic. This is lunacy, man. So no, men never got their power from women. Men never got their rights and freedoms and liberties from women. All that, if you go do a historical study of any culture, if there was something that a woman got, it came from men, especially when it came to a political climate. Men. Don't think because we allowed you to participate in certain movements that you actually spearheaded the movement. Don't think because you got some men to get on your side to vote certain policies into place that you are the ones running things. They still had to go to the men of power to grant things to you. You wouldn't even have no fault divorce if it wasn't for Ronald Reagan. And even Ronald Reagan in his later years of his career said he made the greatest mistake of his life because women started divorces for anything. Oh, it's raining outside and I don't want to get wet and I went outside, got a drop of water on me. I want a divorce. Oh, he didn't buy me a jacket and he know it's cold outside. I want a divorce. Back then you had to prove without a shadow of a doubt why you should be getting a divorce. You can still separate, but you had to prove. You had to say he was committing adultery or he was whooping up on me and they granted it. Now you can say, what is it called? Yeah, I can't even say the damn word. Reconcilable. I can't even say it. I know it's reconcilable. Forgive me, man. I know it in my mind. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't say it. I know some of y'all gonna laugh and say it in the comments. That's cool. But they can just say anything they want. They can say, we're just not getting along and I want a divorce. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get to. Irreconcilable. There you go. Irreconcilable differences. Now I can't mess the other word up. You know what I'm trying to say. Let's keep going.
They used feminine energy. So you see a lot of men understanding this when they use sad stories and imaginary sufferings and they talk about their single moms, and in order to get sympathy from the woman. A lot of women are with men, which is 99% of them are with men out of sympathy. They're also with men because they have the hopes that they can fix that man, which in another word is basically saying, I can put the feminine energy into him.
So when they get these thug dudes who don't work and they taking care of them, that's because women want to put the feminine energy in a man. And remember now, she said men are only with women because they want the feminine energy in them. This is some of the most absurd stuff I've come across. This is crazy, man. And it's sad. It seems like our women, our black women, are completely delusional, man. If I were to lay this woman down next to a nickel, the nickel will have more sense than her. That is crazy. That is crazy.
Because we know that feminine energy is life. So we want to share that with the man. And then we get mad when the man is screaming and acting crazy. The reason why he's acting crazy with you, even though you give him your all, is because you just keep reminding him that he does not have that energy and that you are more powerful than them. And that's why the more you try to get this man to love you, the more you try to get this man to like you, the more he screams at you and acts aggressive towards you. That you learn to just hush and let him lead so he can get his power back. Never been about race at all. Been about men going against women, inner versus the outer. We want everyone to forget the feminine energy so that they can keep having power that does not belong to them.
These hoes crazy, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I'm gonna tell you something. And she right. It ain't just black women, but I see a lot of this mentality, this weirdness in our community, but a lot of women are starting to think like this here, Jack. I'm telling you, man, there's something wrong with these women, man.
I'm a mustard back helper. I believe in the divine manifestation of femininity. You see, Mr. Hill, the reason why you so hard and so raw when you talk on your content is because you want the feminine energy in you. You need the feminine energy in you. So in other words, what I'm trying to say, Mr. Hill, since you don't have feminine energy, you ain't got no bitch in you. And I can't stand it.
Well, you just can't stand it then, you musty back heifer. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all take it easy and let me know what you think about this ridiculous episode. I'll talk to y'all. Take it easy now, you hear?